Welcome to the Lehigh Valley Arts Podcast, where we explore the local arts culture in the Lehigh Valley. We'll be doing this through conversations with individual artists, administrators, and organizations. We'll explore all types of mediums with the goal of enriching local culture. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Lehigh Valley Arts Podcast. As always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Elise.
And we had a very arts-filled weekend. We started off on Friday by going down to the Bethlehem House Gallery's new glass show. Yes,
we did. I really enjoyed that. What did you think?
I thought the curation was beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. I think my favorite part was those like pillared glass pieces right in the front. And they have such a cool space, the way that it's angled, that that front area is like so commanding, and they did a great job with the setup there.
Definitely. I loved so many of Ward's pieces that he had in there. He had some really cool continuous line kind of pop art style stuff. It was so cool.
I love that you keep calling it pop art, because I see on TikTok that continuous line stuff. Like, people are drawing that all over, like on pants with bleach pens and all over the place. But then it is very pop art-ish. So it's very much like this older pop art style with like this hyped up zillennial like line drawing kind of thing.
Well, specifically why I refer to this collection as pop art is because it's very similar pieces over and over and over again.
Yeah.
With very bright, bold colors. And the continuous line is definitely a big aspect of it and part of the more expressive nature of the entire collection.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more the rest of it. The bright colors, I don't know, feel like repetitive in this case.
Yeah, almost like a series kind of.
Yeah, series. That's a much better way to describe it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the other part of it too is the multimedia-ness of it. Like, it's glass and it's the painted panel. So multi-medium, yes. What else did you like in the glass show?
We saw Keith Garuba at the show. He was very nice. He introduced himself, and when I turned around, he has pretty much an entire room there right now. Filled with stuff.
Yeah.
And he has 4 pieces that are on square glass, and I believe they're screen printed. I could be wrong on that, but there's lattice work on it. One is a circle, and I loved the aesthetic of all 4 of them next to each other. And each one had something distinctively different about it. One had a specific color that wasn't used in the rest. One had a circle. One had 4 squares instead of just one. And I really liked that different nature to it. And I'd love to ask him about why each of those was made that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Elizabeth, when we were there, mentioned the pieces with the taillights.
Yes.
And I hadn't really thought anything else about it. And then a couple days ago on his Instagram, I saw he had a whole post just about the taillights piece, talking how he's obsessed with taillights. And yeah, so hopefully we'll get the chance to talk to him soon about all that.
Yeah, I really hope so as well.
Yeah.
We talked to another artist that was there.
Yes, Kim Hogan. She was very, very nice. I was so glad she stopped to talk to us, because we were standing there talking about her artwork. But she has some amazing mosaic pieces.
Yes.
And she told us a little bit about how she was working on children's, like this theme of a children's book.
Yeah.
And they're all very light. They're very friendly images. There was owls, and there was a tiger and a cat and a dog with those like red inner tubes around his neck, and pool flippers on, but all very playful. And she said, yeah, I'd love to turn these into a children's book someday, but all the illustrations are these. They're not illustrated. They're done in mosaic pieces. Yeah. So I'll be looking out for your children's books, Kim. But
I would love to buy a children's book that was done in mosaic. Like, that's so cool.
Oh, yeah. What if there was a children's book where it's done in mosaic and you can like Velcro off little pieces and stuff?
That would be super cool.
Very cool.
You heard it here first. Lehigh Valley Arts Podcast, the children's book.
Thank you so much, Kim, for stopping and talking to us. You were very nice, and I loved hearing about the work from the artists. So that was really great.
I know Elizabeth loved looking at those as well. And she has a piece, the owl piece, that's actually rotating on different billboards. So right now it is in Coopersburg. So if you see it, I believe there's an email on the billboard as well. Send her an email and you may win a special prize.
Yeah, I still haven't found it. I've been looking around while I've been in Coopersburg the last week. I've not found it yet, so nobody better beat me to it. I'll be upset.
Yeah. So that was Friday. And then on Saturday, a large group of us from Steel Pixel alongside you and Ben Burrington, who was our guest last week. We went down to the Media Film Festival, which I was really happy that they decided to go on with it.
Yeah.
So many film festivals went entirely digital or canceled altogether. And, you know, I enjoy watching something on the computer as much as the next person does, but I love that big screen experience.
Yeah, and it was great to get out there and have that kind of COVID safe environment.
Yeah.
And still get to be out in the world watching all the
Definitely.
films that were submitted. So
Definitely.
big shout out to the Media Arts Council. That was really awesome that you guys put that together.
Yes. Deciding to go for the drive-in format is, I mean, it's a win. You may not be able to hear it the best. You may not be able to see it the best, but it's a fun, universal experience. Reminds you of summertime. And it's a way to garner community, which is so important in the world of film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
And why did we go to the film festival, Ben?
Yeah, we went because I had a very small part working as a grip on one of the films that played. I worked on it when I lived in Texas. It's called My Dinner with Werner, directed by Maverick Moore. He's a awesome professor down at Baylor University. So shout out Maverick, shout out Baylor. We had a good time. Speaking of films, the guest last week, Ben Burrington, and I really hit it off. We came up with a funny idea, and we just started production on a new short film. It's nothing crazy, but a fun experimental short. So
we can, you can look out for that as produced or directed or put out by Ben Squared, which
yes.
I love that.
Yes. Yeah, we decided to put the directing credit as Ben Squared. So be looking out for that.
Who came up with that? Did Riley come up with that?
Yeah, so that was Riley that came up with it, who owns Ripely Digital Marketing. She's a very, very talented social media account manager, and she works very closely with us here at Steel Pixel Studios and came down to the film festival with us. It was a fun time.
Ben Squared, that's like your own little branding situation there. I love it.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. I'll likely have it on my Instagram at some point relatively soon. Yeah.
Did you work on anything else this week?
I worked a little bit more on that spray paint piece I started a few weeks ago. I've been having a hard time finding an adequate way to stencil the numbers. So part of it is a couple numbers that are on the piece. And I have a very particular font that I want to use for the numbers. And I've been unhappy with the way that my stylings have come out. How about yourself? What were you working on this week?
I started a new project this week, and I'm not really sure where I'm going with it. But as you know, I collect old cameras,
yes.
But I also collect old photographs. Mm-hmm. So I usually look for ones of people doing stuff that you wouldn't normally think of in an old photograph. Like usually they're very staged, like kind of portrait-y stuff. But now I'm looking for ones that are kind of fun and like people really showing personality, people having a good time. So I'm connecting that with this kind of writing concept where I write a short story about each of these photographs. So I use the people in the photographs to create characters for a short story or a poem. So I have the first one I started was this awesome photo. I'm going to guess by the clothing, like 1940s, this guy laying on the ground in a suit in front of, I think it was the Lincoln Memorial. And it was just so out of place. I found it at an antique store. I buy them in like boxes, or they're like rubber banded together. And you just buy the whole bunch, and then I'll recycle or cut them up for collage or whatever. But this one I kept whole because it was just such a weird photo and it was so out of place. So I wrote a poem to go with this one, which is not something I usually do. About, do you ever like kick your feet up and lay in the sun, just like do what's not expected of you?
Yeah.
Wearing a suit, laying on the cement. So I don't know. It's more of just like a creative process thing, but I've been having a lot of fun with it. So
I could see that doing really well in either a series or art book setting.
Yeah, there's this art book that someone gave me for Christmas a few years ago, and it's photographs of women like smoking cigarettes or like wearing scantily clad clothing or something. And I just love it. And I think in the back of my brain, that was kind of the concept for this, was like finding photos of people just doing stuff that they don't normally do in photos. Because nowadays with a cell phone, like I took a Snapchat of something weird off of your desk, but if you were developing an entire roll of film, like would I have wasted a photo on
Fair.
something weird on your desk? Probably not.
That's more something that I'd photograph.
So yeah, but because you have the access to it now, but in the historical
definitely.
context, like, I don't know, it just seems so much easier to connect myself to like people in history when I see that kind of personality in a photo. So
yeah,
I'll show you next week or something.
Yeah, I'd love to check it out.
Yeah,
that sounds super cool.
Yeah. Our guest this week is singer-songwriter Ikechukwu Okorji. Ikechukwu seeks to set the universal soundtrack for the ebbs and flows of the human emotional experience. He finds his niche in the singer-songwriter genre by orchestrating ubiquity through inclusive lyricism and beautiful guitar melodies. Hailing originally from Nigeria and eventually to the city of brotherly love, his unique sound comes from the authenticity of his own life experience.
Well, my name is Ikechukwu, but people call me Ike. Yeah. So whichever you prefer in the moment, whichever is easiest for you in the moment, you can call me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Beautiful name.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this week. We are so happy to have you. And thank you to Elizabeth for
Yes.
for connecting
That's
us.
the real MVP,
Yes.
as they say.
So Ike,
Yes.
tell us about your music.
So let me see. I started playing guitar like almost 10 years ago. So I heard John Mayer. I was doing an essay for class during the summertime, doing the summer essay or whatever. And I was on Pandora and John Mayer started singing. I was like, oh my God, who's that person that's singing? And then I was like, whoa, that's John Mayer. Who's John Mayer? And then from then I was like, okay, cool. I want to play guitar and I want to sing like John Mayer. So I told my mom, I want a guitar. And then she says, you have to do really well in school. So I did really, really well in school for that year. And just to get the guitar, and I got the guitar, and I was like, the rest is like, okay, yo, this is what this is joy right here. Yeah, music is joy. Playing music is joy. So that's kind of what largely influenced my music, John Mayer. So my music is a lot like John Mayer / like Ed Sheeran / Damien Rice / Ray LaMontagne.
All right.
So yeah, it's a
That's super fun.
nice little sound effect. Yeah. It's a nice little mix of all those musicians.
Yeah.
So that's basically what my music is like. I like to make the listener like feel emotion as soon as they listen to it. Like, oh, I'm getting like in my feels right now. That's what I want to do to the listener.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. What was your first guitar?
My first guitar was I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, a Takamine. And then I just started playing that. And now I have a Yamaha, cool little nice parlor guitar.
Nice.
But yeah, so that was my first guitar, my first acoustic. And then I jumped up to an electric guitar, a Fender Strat. And then recently I jumped up to a John Mayer signature guitar.
Ooh.
That John made my wallet cry, though. My wallet was crying after that purchase. Oh my goodness! But yeah, so right now I have three guitars.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I tell myself this is going to be the last guitar I'll ever need, and then probably John Mayer will come out with a guitar in 7 years, and I'll probably get that. It's like, I'm going to get that guitar. But yeah,
Yeah.
I always say that this is the last instrument I need, and then I see like a ukulele. I'm like, okay, now I gotta have that one because it looks like a watermelon or something.
Oh, right. It's never the last.
It's never the last.
It's never the last. It's never the last.
So do you prefer acoustic or electric? I know a lot of your music is very
a lot of music is very acoustic right now. At the moment, it depends on the moment. Before, maybe like 2-3 years ago, I was very like acoustic based. And then I started listening to a lot more R&B and getting into more like electric / like R&B vibe for my new EP that's coming out later on in a couple of months. A month or two.
That's exciting.
Ooh, new music. Yeah. That's new music coming out. So Where the Lions Are is my first release. That's on Spotify or anywhere you can listen to music. That was very like acousticy
Yes.
vibe. But my new EP that's coming out, it's going to be called, can I say it on here? I can say it on
Yeah,
here.
go for it.
So it's going to be called Forever the Lover Boy, right? I'm just going to say it again for dramatic effect. Forever the Lover Boy, right? So that's going to be the next EP title that's going to come out in the next few months or so. And that's going to be a completely different vibe from Where the Lions Are. I'm excited.
Yeah.
People are going to think, oh man, Ike is going to come at me with the Where the Lions Are vibe, acoustic-y. And then they listen to Forever the Lover Boy. I was like, whoa, that's completely like different. So like, I'm excited to shock the listener. I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Do you have a set number of songs that project's going to be?
Oh yes, 5 songs.
Nice.
5 songs.
Nice.
5. Yeah.
So that's one more than the first one.
yeah, that's one. That's one more than the last. I was like, yeah, you know what? It's gonna be one more song, and then, but I'm so like, I've been itching to just release it.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I can't wait till it's all done to just people to hear it. Cause I hear it all the time in my car when I listen back to it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, this is like, I can't wait to see how am I going to put this out and advertise this? How am I going to do this music video? How am I going to, there's so many, like, how am I going to do it? Like, I can't wait to do it. So like, I'm just itching to kind of get that stuff out there so people can hear it and people can like, I don't know, absorb that information.
Yeah.
Have you announced that anywhere yet?
No, I have not. This is
You heard it here first.
You heard it here
on
first.
Lehigh Valley Arts
You
Podcast.
heard it here first. Forever the Lover Boy. TBA. TBA. Heard it here first. Only people that know are my friends. That's my close friends. But this is the first public live announcement.
That's super exciting. Well, thanks for being comfortable enough to share it here.
No, thank you for giving me the space to share that. I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for that to come out.
Definitely. You have an album cover picked out already?
You know what? I don't like I'm sifting through so many ideas.
Yeah.
So, oh my God. Okay. So I had this idea of me like looking at the camera and like the arms of a woman is like hugging me from behind. I was like, okay, that's an idea. And then I had another idea of just in the picture of a woman just hugging me like a you know, like you see those pictures of like where like I'm in the arms of my partner, like all emotional, looking at the camera, all emotional, like those are my and there's another idea. Yes, I forgot. There was another idea where it was just me standing outside or sitting outside a door with like flowers like just laying on the floor. And there's like a door. So there's like I'm trying to see what would grab somebody's attention as quickly as possible and kind of convey that emotion. Yeah. Like, okay, the door is closed. This dude was this person's house trying to knock on the door. Yeah. She didn't open the door. Oh man, I got flowers for you. I guess you're not getting the flowers because you're not opening the door. So I'm trying to decide, oh man, which one's the best cover? I don't know. What are y'all thinking? Like which idea do you think would like you see it and it's like, oh man, like the one with the woman hugging me from behind, the one with the woman holding me all like, oh, it's okay, they're there. Or the one where I'm outside just sitting at the door and the flowers on the floor.
Both of those last two really grip me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I don't know.
Right? That's the thing. It's like, man, I don't know. I don't know which one. I don't know.
Hearing you before you said that you've been listening to a little bit more R&B music recently.
Yeah, absolutely.
So all three of those make me think about a lot of famous R&B covers.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that may be a big influence on this next EP?
Yeah, that's going to be a big influence. There's just a lot more new sounds. I worked on the EP after writing the songs or whatever. I had one of my good friends that I come to know, producer, Melvin Doral. And he kind of brought all the songs to life, you know,
very cool,
by producing it. So with his help, I was able to really make those songs kind of shine, the way that I wanted them to, and the way that I heard it in my head, and the way that it was just a good collaboration.
That's awesome.
So yeah, those vibes, like, yo, wait, I gotta, so I'm releasing a single. So the single I'm going to release is called I Fell For You, right? And the single cover is really, really simple, right? It's just a bed with like rustled sheets, and it's like the golden hour. It's like an empty bed. It's like, oh, that's very sultry. So I'm excited to like, now that I think about it, maybe if I'm going with that vibe, maybe the woman holding me or like, might be.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the singles vibe is like, oh, there's an empty bed, rustled sheets, golden hour. It's like, well, what happened?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so look at that. I just figured it out. Here, still Pixel Studios. I figured out what I'm going to choose for my EP cover. That's dope. But that's kind of the progression of the new music that's coming out. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have this whole other layer of creative choices that you have to make, because not only are you writing the music and creating the music, now you gotta, what am I going to pick for an album cover?
That's so difficult.
Yeah.
What am I going to pick for an album cover? What am I going to pick for? How am I going to list the songs? How am I going to, like, if somebody just has to listen to the EP from 1 to 5 without shuffle, how am I going to make it like a story wise? Or there's so many, like, it's mad. It can get stressful in terms of like deciding, oh man, because you want it to be so perfect.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of joy in kind of figuring out because once you find it, right? It's like writing a song. It's like when I write songs, sometimes I write really bad songs. And then like sometimes when I write a good song, it's like, oh my God, that's it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of fun to kind of go through that stage of what am I going to do? 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 And then it's like, oh, yo, this is definitely what I'm going to do. And then no other choice kind of seems to match it. Yeah.
That stress surrounding that and that concept is so similar to what we have talked about with our visual artists that have come in here is, do you title your work, and why or why not? Do you struggle to title your work? And obviously with music, it's a little bit different, but you're also on the side of, how do you organize your work? How do you lay out that story? And what order do you put stuff in to convey what you mean and what you're feeling, kind of thing? So similar kind of concept.
Yeah, absolutely.
An art of itself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, artists, creatives in general, I guess with anything, in terms of creating, there's always like, I guess the critics in your head. What's that line? You're your own harshest critic, or what?
Own worst critic.
Yeah.
Own worst critic. Yeah. That can be definitely true in some ways.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So it's, as creatives, that's one of the, I don't know if it's an obstacle or just one of the things that we face as creatives. But the joy is like, oh, at least for me, I know that like something that I'm going to like push past through. Because at the end of the day, like I want people to feel what I'm feeling or felt what I felt when I wrote these songs.
Definitely.
So that's the joy in it and figuring it out. I guess that's part of the joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to that curation process of figuring out the order of those songs, or even which 5 songs you choose to put on there.
Yes.
What does that process look like for you?
Oh, it's like, okay, so it's like going through, because there were like a couple of songs, like, like old songs that I've written, like, oh man, I want people to hear this, because it feels like once I release these songs, I don't want to go all the way back and release a really old song that I wrote like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm like in a different state of creative process or creative journey, or
right.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I got to pick really good 5 songs that like, okay, and I'm trying to be like, man, when somebody listens to this, I want it to be better than my last release, you know?
Yeah.
Because people really liked Where the Lions Are. And I can't come up with like, oh man, here's another, and there's like, whoa, bro, what happened? Like, right? There's like, well, what is this? So that's also like the, picking the songs is also a huge thing. Picking which songs get on there.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. These songs, sometimes when I listen, like I know that I'm excited because like when I listen to some of them, it's like, oh man, I'm getting in my feels right now. Like I'm in my feelings. So it's like, knowing that, it's like, okay, somebody else who listens to this is also going to be in their feelings. I guess that's how I decide which one to put on. It's like I play it back and it's like, okay, am I in my feelings? I am, but like I'm like at a 60%, right? But then this other song makes me like in that 90%. Okay, so that's the song I'm going to pick. So I try to pay attention to what it makes me feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
And if it makes me feel the feels, then it's going. Somebody else got to hear it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
I was going to say, very emotionally driven.
Very emotionally driven. Yeah. I can be a little intense with the emotions sometimes in music. If I don't I listen to music and I was like, what am I feeling? If I feel nothing, then I was like, all right, that's not, if whatever it is, whatever that feeling is, if it's just, I don't know if it's not just noise, but like just sounds, I guess. Noise is a little harsh word to use, but just sounds. But if it's sounds that come with something that makes me feel in general, whatever it is, happiness, sadness, confusion in a good way, then yeah, that's kind of how I decide whether or not on like what music I like or what music I don't really like to listen to, this and this and this and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of how it is in my brain for me.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I love that you called it, I think, Ben, you said this curation, like you're curating the way that the listener kind of experiences your work, from the album cover to the way that you organize it to the titles. And that's something that is maybe even unique to musicians, because you are entirely framing how someone is going to hear your work. Whereas a painter, they might drop their painting off at the gallery and then they don't have that creative control over the final product of what's the setting in which the listener. I mean, I guess it depends on where the listener's listening to. I've been listening to your stuff all day, and I was gardening this morning, and then I was cooking.
Thank you for the streams. Thank you for the streams.
So yeah, I like that word curation as it relates to musicians, because I never really thought of it that way.
Yeah, that is dope.
Yeah.
It's a very dope way to look at it, actually.
Yeah. I mentioned this, I believe 2 episodes ago now. I have a couple friends in Texas who are musicians.
Oh.
And they talked about the struggle when creating for a project that you may make a song that you enjoy and like a lot, but it doesn't fit with the vision of the process and in the project itself, and therefore it's bad within that context and they don't want to release it.
Yeah.
Have you found that for yourself at all?
So the thing is, I've never been asked to write for a project or a movie before, so I'm not quite sure what that feeling is like. However, I must imagine it can only feel what's the word? Because if you're asked to create something for like a movie or a short film, whatever, that's when feelings because when you're writing, at least for me, if I ever writing outside of my own experiences, then it's a little harder.
Definitely.
Because that's an experience that I don't understand. And to me, music is very, release a songwriting process is very like, okay, these are my experiences, right? Because this is the best way I can, not be, I don't know if the word is fake, or just be as authentic as possible as I possibly can, right? Because I believe if I'm authentic, the listener will feel my authenticity.
Definitely.
So I can only imagine that process to be entirely difficult. I would love to do it someday, though. I would love to do it someday. Yo, if you're listening to this and you need somebody to write for you or something, let me know. But anyways,
up to the challenge.
Take commissions.
It's a challenge. Yeah, it's a challenge. I would love to do it. Because then I can, how can I make that experience be not part of I don't know if it's part of my own experience, but like, how can I step into that shoe that person is trying to create?
Definitely.
Especially visually, and kind of write something to that. I figure it's a really like a hard process. So but I would love to do it someday. I would love to, because that's a challenge, and I love conveying. It's like, that sounds like such a fun thing to do. I would love to do that. Someday.
Sounds like a collaborative project opportunity. Maybe maybe you need to work on a short film, Ben, and then hire Ike to write the music for it.
Let me know.
I will definitely let you know.
I would love to do that. Wow, that sounds a lot of fun. I would love to do that. Yeah.
So when you are working on a new album or a new song, what does your process look like? How do you kind of get into that mindset? Are you like what did we talk about last week? The type of person that at 2 a.m. you're like scribbling stuff down on a notepad, or?
So it all depends. Sometimes a melody comes to my brain, or like I'm driving, and then like I hear like a certain thing in my head and I start singing it out loud. And then when I get home, I like to write in the dark, right? Kind of, you can't see in the dark, dude. What are you doing, right? So, but I love, like, that's why I'm not a fan of fluorescent lighting, or lighting is plays such a vital role in like how I feel. So when I'm writing, I like it to be as dim, dark as possible, because then like I feel like I don't have any distractions. Like a part of my, I don't know if it's sensory, my I can see, but like I can't. It's not as bright. So only thing I can focus on is literally what I'm feeling, and like my ears. So it makes my ears a lot more, what's the word? It's a lot less distraction for my eyes. So it makes my ears more susceptible to hearing something that I might like, or makes my brain more like open to things, because more things are cut out visually. So yeah, that's kind of my writing process. I sometimes start singing a melody, or I'm feeling something like, oh man, I feel like I want to write a song right now. And then like I go to my guitar and I start playing chords or whatever, and I'm like thinking to myself, does this sound good? Does this what I'm feeling? And then sometimes like I hit it on the money. It's like, oh man, I just wrote the song. And sometimes it takes like you're right. It's like, oh man, immediately, or like depending on the song, I can say, okay, this song is not gonna, I'm not feeling this song. Or I write something and I listen back to it, it's like, okay, that wasn't, it's not something I would release, this song is for like, okay, I guess this song is for me. This is how I was feeling in that moment. I'm kind of therapeutic in that way. So there's some songs that are just like, okay, this is like a therapeutic thing. And there's some songs that, okay, therapeutic plus, other people got to hear this stuff right here. So that's kind of what the songwriting process is like. Normally it starts with the melody in my head, or feeling. And then I just kind of translate that to make music out of it as best as I possibly can.
Yeah.
But yeah, the most important thing is whatever it is I'm feeling, I got to put it out on paper. Yeah. Whatever it is I'm feeling, I got to put it. If I'm not feeling anything, I can't. I've noticed when I write, if I'm not feeling any sort of way, the song doesn't really turn out to be. But if I'm feeling something and I write it, and it's like, oh my God, dude, are you okay? It's like, oh man, what was happening here? Or it's like, ooh, what are you feeling? What were you thinking about? So it's, so yeah, those are kind of the moments that I have when it comes to the songwriting process. Yeah,
that's super cool. So you started to touch on it here, but what kind of a part does music play in your daily life?
Plays a lot. I don't know what I would do if music wasn't a thing. To be honest, I don't. It's like music. I don't know. Music plays a big role, huge role. Not only in terms of creating and writing, but like if I'm out somewhere and there's music, I get distracted, right? Like I can be having a conversation with somebody, and sometimes I'm like, man. Sometimes, like, I'm a nice person, I try to be as nice as possible. So sometimes when I'm talking to my friends and a good song comes on, I just say a disclaimer, I'm sorry, like I might get distracted. I just let them know right away.
Fair.
I might get distracted because I'm trying my best and I get distracted very easily. So I was like, I'm trying my best right now to stay focused but this is my jam, right? So, and I also love to dance. So music plays a huge role in my mood. So if I'm out somewhere, let's say like I'm out at a party, the music is the most important thing. I don't care about the drinks. I don't care about the food, or the food is important, but I don't care about any. I was like, okay. I was like, who's DJing? Who's on the aux, right? Who's like? And I said, oh my God, what was this guy? So it's like, I don't know. Music plays such a big role. So at the high school in my office, I have a guitar. I'm gonna have my LED light set up. So when you walk into my office, it's like this ambiance of like, if I were a student, I'd like to visualize it as you're walking into somebody's room. Like, it's like, okay, as my school counselor, he's like a super chill dude.
He's creating a vibe in here.
It's like a whole vibe. Yeah, it's a whole vibe. Because I like to believe that, like, there's so many other things that have such a huge effect on your mood. And as for students, that's like, if I were a student, I said, oh my, how would I like my school counselor to be? Or when I talk to them. So in my office, when students come in, I ask them, okay, choose a color. I give them the remote and they choose a color and I turn the lights off and you're talking. It's like, whoa, it's like, I don't know. It's a huge kind of like, vibe thing. And sometimes I do like little music, or I have my students, make music with me. It's just really nice music. I try to implement it if I can implement it even a little bit where it might not belong, quote unquote. I think music belongs everywhere, but quote unquote, where it might not belong, I'd love to. Even on Thursdays, I do the morning announcements at the high school on Thursdays.
Yeah.
And I sing to the students and then I do them. So that's like my thing.
Oh, that's so cool.
So Thursday mornings were mornings with Mr. O.
Nice.
Right? It's a lot of fun for me. So I try to fit it in many parts of my life as I possibly can. But yeah.
That's super cool. I love that you mentioned before how music is very therapeutic to you. And you just mentioned now about how you use the guitar and the music with the students.
Yes,
so from a counseling perspective, how do you usually try and implement that music into it?
So a lot of my students are huge into art, and a bunch of them are low-key singers, right?
That's so
So if I found out you're a singer, I like to bring out the star in people, right? So like, if I find out that you're a singer, I'm gonna gas you up. Like I'm gonna like, it's like, yo, like what are you doing? Let's hear something, right?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, people are like, I don't want to sing. I'm too shy to sing. But it's like, I like to think that I have this skill, right? Where I'd need like at least like 20 minutes to talk to you, and then I can get you to sing, right? So at least 20 minutes, 8 out of 10 success rate, right? But
you've got the lights, you've got the vibes.
I got this. Oh man, I do want to sing. I do want to sing. That's the vibe. But yeah, so that's how I implement it. So, or for example, if my student, in terms of poetry, right?
Yeah.
I also try to kind of encourage my students, to write out their feelings in poetry format, or and then if I have a student who sings, I play the guitar and they write a song right there. So why don't you try writing a song? See what it feels like. Because if it feels good, I'm not saying it's going to feel good for everybody else, but just to see what it feels like. And usually, since that vibe, it's so like, that's why I try to create a vibe that's not school. I don't want to say school like, quote unquote, but I want my office and my environment in the school counseling office to feel like I'm not in school. Because school is such a stressful place to be, especially during this time. I think, especially for students, it's such a stressful place to be, right? So I want my students to come into my office. Oh, this kind of feels like I'm at home. Like, it feels like I'm at my home. The lights are off. Okay, there's like music playing, like this blaring fluorescent lighting is not blinding me, making me feel like I'm at a doctor's office. I'm like chilling, So that's kind of how I try to implement it. Yeah. Because that's how I would like my school counselor to implement that. That kind of vibe, that feeling. Definitely. But yeah, that's kind of how it goes about with that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. It's not even all set up yet, my office. I would like to take a picture and send it on later on.
Oh, definitely.
I got to get the chair. I got to get the little water fountain, waterfall thing. So when you're, I'm excited. Next year's going to be awesome.
I love it.
But yeah.
Plays into the first impression that someone gets when they walk right in
when
your
they
office.
walk in, it's like, whoa, what is...
Yeah.
They like look around. They look around. They get like tapestry up, and it's like, whoa, where am I? That's kind of the vibe.
So that's so fun.
Really chillaxed. Like you're at ease, right? I want you to be at ease when you walk in already, because then it makes it much easier for me to talk to you and kind of like see what's going on.
So a lot of singer-songwriters will also double and release things as poets as well.
Okay.
Because writing, singing, songwriting is definitely a form of poetry as well.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to how you identify as an artist, would you say that you are a multimedium artist, meaning you include all of that, or would you primarily identify as singer-songwriter?
That's a good question. I started off writing poetry freshman year of high school.
Okay.
And then after I found a guitar and after I started writing songs, I never really, I guess, quote unquote, wrote poetry. I would here and there, but everything in terms of words, to express my feelings that I wrote out, more than half of them turned into songs. So I guess what was that nice word you used?
Multimedia.
Multimedium artist.
Multimedium artist. But yeah, I guess I would consider myself a multimedium artist. Because I do enjoy writing poetry. It's just that when I write a really cool line, I'm like, oh man, I would like that to be a melody, right?
Definitely.
At least, because when I write, I was like, oh man, I want somebody else to hear this. So whenever I write those lines, I always want them to turn into melody now.
Definitely.
Back then I didn't, because I didn't know what a songwriter but I didn't write songs at all.
Yeah.
So, but when I started writing songs, I was like, oh, I would have loved for somebody to hear this, songwriting wise. Maybe it's because it's a much, what's the word? Not more accessible, but it's more, okay, I have more opportunity for somebody to hear this if I turn it into a song, or more popular medium, I guess you can say, for somebody to listen to.
That's fair.
It's more accessible to some,
definitely,
for them to hear this. So anytime I write something cool, it's like, oh man, I want to turn it into a melody.
Definitely. There's a musicality to it.
There's a musicality to it. Yeah. That'd be that's a really cool line. Dang, that's dope. I want to turn it into a melody. So, I can release it and somebody else can hear it. So, oh man, I hear what you're saying in that line. But yeah, one-liners are wonderful.
I love it.
So if your poetry's too good, then it just ends up in the song.
It ends up in the song.
Yeah.
It ends up in the
And
song.
not to generalize too much, but people are usually listening to music on Spotify and not spoken word poetry.
Absolutely.
So,
That's a good point.
so more accessible, I think, is definitely a good phraseology for that.
That's the thing. Yeah.
I don't know. After the last election, I feel like we have more people getting into spoken word now.
That is very true.
I think you're right. Yeah.
That is very, very true.
Yeah.
That is very, very true.
Yeah. That Amanda Gorman, man.
Oh yeah.
That was wonderful.
Playing at Super Bowl as well.
Yeah. So this is off topic, but this is something that has come up in my office conversation is the integration of arts and sports and how that was such a specific choice to have her like a laureate recite at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, are you a sports fan?
What do you call a social sports fan? Was that a fake sports fan?
No, I don't think so. I definitely relate to that because I honestly, like, if someone invited me to a baseball game, I would go, but
absolutely,
I'm not sitting to watch it. But I literally on my DVR had the Super Bowl taped. I otherwise probably would not have cared about it at all. But because she was there speaking, and this was an art form in a place that you wouldn't traditionally think of, that was exciting and
Definitely
drew me in.
Yeah.
Sorry, a little tangent, but
yeah.
So, Ike, you're a school counselor.
I'm a school counselor.
What's your education background? Where did you go to school?
Undergrad, I went to Kutztown University.
shout out Kutztown.
Shout out Kutztown, KU, Golden Bear. It's good to be golden. But and in grad school, I guess I was so golden that I wanted to be more golden, and stayed at Kutztown for grad school.
Nice.
So yeah, I just finished up the program last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So that's in terms of like college, that's school counselor program, licensure, 3-year program, which kind of puts me on track to become a licensed practical counselor, get my LPCs. I have to take a test, and then I have to get a bunch of hours, and then I'm eligible to open up my own practice.
Very cool.
Isn't that kind of cool?
That is very cool.
You can be creating a vibe in your own practice.
Creating a whole vibe.
You can play your own music.
Play my own music. It's like, shameless plugs with my clients,
that
right?
guy sounds so familiar. Yeah, if you like it, there's a QR code by the door.
Yeah, right? There's a QR code. You trying to get this CD? Like, there's a CD right there. After each session. Yeah. Just kidding.
It's like making TikToks with your own songs in it.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Same kind of thing.
Absolutely. That's so funny.
Yeah. But I know in school there's, especially with a psychology program, there's not a lot of time for other things. But were you part of any musician groups, artist collectives, anything like that while you were in school?
Undergrad I was. Undergrad I was a part. I did choir for like a year. And I did the a cappella group, Kutztones, for like 3 years. And there were like a couple like ensembles that I did here and there, doing my undergrad. But at grad school, no, I didn't do any of that. There weren't really many opportunities that I knew of as a grad student to be, a part of any musical, thing that was happening at the school. And plus my mental space was like, man, I just got to get through this program.
Yeah.
Now that I'm through with the program, now that I have, I'm fortunate enough to be employed. I can focus again on music, because those 3 years I released my EP like my first year in grad school. And after that, I just couldn't focus as much as I wanted to on making music, nor did I have the funds to make music.
Understandable.
So, yeah, that joint is expensive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of been, in terms of what I've joined, or music clubs or programs that I was a part of, while kind of getting bachelor's and my master's. But yeah, it's nice. I have so many plans, for the future in terms of, at the high school. I'm just warming up. I'm just warming up. Put me in, coach. Like I'm just warming up. Like if I can make the ideas that I have in my head happen at the high school, I'm excited.
That's
I'm excited. What are you going to do in 5 years? That interview question. I think about all the time in my head. It's like 5 years, man. Like the high school. I want the high school to be like, because there's this, what's the word? I don't want to say maybe traditional is the word. And I want to completely scrap that traditional, while keeping what's worked, in terms of structure and keeping people organized or whatever. But in terms of like, how are we going to make this new generation of students, understand what's happening? Because now school counseling has become more than just vocational. Now it's largely focused on mental health, because not everybody has to go to college.
Yeah.
Nor does everyone want to go to college.
Yeah.
So the large focus is now on just like, okay, how are we going to give you the skills to be prepared once you go into the society, whether it be college or whether it be workforce, whatever it is you want to do. So I don't know. I'm excited to kind of implement my personality. Ooh, implement my personality. Wow, implement my personality.
Is that a melody right there?
Implement my personality. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe. I don't know. I'm excited.
That's great to hear that, because we were, even just when we started, joking about how we've been talking in other episodes about your full-time job doesn't define you, or that something might be your side gig, but it seems there is so much duality in what you do in your full-time job and in your personal life, and you are making such a direct connection, and you seem so equally passionate about both sides of it, and I just love that.
That's the thing, right? Because I was like, yo, my mom wanted to be a doctor. So what? A doctor? I can't be a doctor, right? Like I don't have, I personally don't believe I have what it takes to be a doctor, right? That's just my own honest assessment. And I was never going to be, okay, in terms of this, our conversation, let's call it a day job, right? And a day job, quote unquote, that I'm not a fan of. So if school counseling, I was like, yo, I gotta do something that I actually really like too, in terms of my day job. Yeah. Because that's gonna mess everything up if I don't, at least for me, because I'm very sensitive to that energy. So school counseling was perfect. That's what I say. I'm like fortunate because, oh, bam, I love school counseling. I also love music. How can I get music into, because music is so, what's the word? Universal and so, what's the word?
It's the universal language.
Right, universal language. You can fit, it can fit in a lot of places. It's very adaptable. Or, so it's like, how can I get music into the school counseling or bring it into the school? That's why I was like, yo, principal, Mr. G, can I sing to the students? He was like, you can do whatever you want. I was like, whoa, really? Freedom? Right?
Your very own Thursday morning radio show.
Thursday morning radio show.
Freedom, and in high school, I never would have imagined
right?
those words
Freedom.
go together.
I was like, whoa, really? Dang, I can do this? That's crazy. Thank you.
But you're an administrator. He's not the student.
That's fair.
Right? I was like, thank you for giving me this opportunity to kind of implement what I love into the building. But yeah, that's really much it. It's really funny because undergrad, I was a biochemistry major. Only my freshman year. After I was like, that's when my mom wanted to be a doctor. So undergrad, she still wants me to be a doctor, but it's like school counseling is what it is. But undergrad, I was in lab and I would be dissecting whatever animal we're dissecting in zoology. And I will start singing. I sing all the time in lab. My professors knew it.
To your dead frog?
I'll be dissecting, a worm or whatever scientific name for the worm is. And I'll just be singing. My people in classes got used to it, and then my professors let me do it. It's like, it's crazy. So that's why I think anywhere I am, I just gotta bring it. I just gotta bring it into whatever I'm doing. But yeah,
that's super cool.
Yeah, that's it. It's fun. It's so funny because in the dorms, you know how they have the showers, like a communal shower or whatever, in the big dorms. And in the morning, I won't care who's in the shower, I'll start singing. It's like, ooh, this is. I'll never forget one time I was taking a shower and I was singing, and there was this other person next to me. He goes, "Oh man, it feels like it's a radio in here, man. Keep going." I was like, "Yeah, you're welcome, bro. No problem. I got you with the music." It's crazy. So whatever I'm doing, I feel like I'm always, because it brings me joy, right? And I'll be damned if I can't put joy into my life, if I have if I have the power to do it, right? If I'm aware that I have the power to do it, then why wouldn't I do it? But yeah, that's really much it, to be honest.
Yeah.
In terms of that.
Yeah.
Definitely. if we were to hear an audio snippet of you singing in the shower recently, what song you got stuck in your head?
Oh man. Lake Street Dive.
Okay.
There's a song called Neighbor Song. It's like, I can hear my neighbors making love upstairs. Oh my God. It's so good. And the ending, there's this like big like ending. It's like the strings come in, the upright bass comes in. And then she goes, the neighbors making love upstairs will crush me. Oh, yo, it's such a funny song. It's like, I can hear my neighbors making love upstairs. And then at the end, it's like, if the pillars, it's such a metaphorical, like if the pillars that's holding this apartment complex or whatever falls down from the love that they're making, I'm going to be crushed.
Yeah.
And that's like, because I'm down on the ground floor. I just think lyrically that's genius.
Yeah.
I'm down on the ground floor. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'll stop. But yeah,
I love it.
So that's the song. That's
you
the
don't
song
have to play an audio
that's-
snippet.
You know, that's true.
That's the song that's stuck in my head.
Yeah.
So everybody, please go listen to that Neighbor song, Lake Street Dive.
Very nice.
That's the song that's stuck in my head. At the moment.
Yeah. I know you mentioned John Mayer and Ray LaMontagne, who actually I was thinking exactly him when I was listening to your music earlier. So I was so happy that you said that because I love him.
Yeah, he's mine.
But is there any other musicians,
Of course.
music that you kind of drive your inspiration from?
Recently, Mahalia. I don't know if you ever heard of Mahalia. She's from the UK. Very R&B. Mahalia is huge. I heard the first song maybe like 2 years ago. 2-3 years ago maybe. And then I was like, oh my God, I gotta see this person. I gotta see her. So I saw her twice, right? One by myself because my friends don't listen to Mahalia. And then I met her the second time. I bought the VIP ticket. It was mad cheap, right?
Nice.
But it was like $30-$40.
Oh, that's a steal.
That's a steal, right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, I know in 2 years, Dijon's going to be like at least 800.
Yeah.
Right? Because she's going to be big. So she's already kind of garnering towards being really big. But I met her and she's like, I can't even do it. I don't want to mimic the accent. I can't even do it. But she asked me for my name and I was like, my heart kind of like melted. I heard her voice. I was like, oh man, I want to have like a cup of tea with you or something. I don't know. But yeah, Mahalia, I'm a huge fan of Brett Dennen.
Okay.
So like very, like I've been listening to a lot more songs that's like very kind of like groovy, to kind of, and I've kind of feel it coming into my music. Where the Lions Are all those songs were written like when I used to listen to a lot of Damien Rice, and a lot of, I'm trying to think of someone else, not necessarily John Mayer, because John Mayer has inspired me all the way through. But Where the Lions Are was written at a very much when I used to listen to a lot more like very chilling, like, like whisper into the microphone kind music, mellow music, I should say. But now I've been listening to a lot more R&B and a lot more like pop, and I'm trying to implement those elements into my mellow sound. So yeah, so Mahalia and Brett Dennen, and Lake Street Dive are like huge right now.
That's
in my
awesome.
brain or my playlist or my Spotify top 10, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so Mahalia, absolutely. I think she's probably number one. Like Mahalia, she's such a good songwriter and she's so catchy with her lyrics and so like her vibe is just like I don't know, it's like the vibe that I kind of want to like be like, oh man, I kind of want to be that. Like I want to create that like that vibe that Mahalia creates, mixed in with my mellow kind of sound.
That's super
so
cool.
I can make people cry and like bob their heads at the same time as crying. Okay, this is not so bad. Yeah.
This is a bop,
This is a bop. Oh my God.
But the lyrics are so
These
emotional.
lyrics. Who broke
man.
this man's heart? Yeah, so that's kind of try to mix both worlds in as much as I possibly can. But yeah, so Mahalia is huge right now in my brain.
Yeah.
Right now, absolutely.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and these are all pretty new artists.
Mahalia is pretty new. Brett Dunn's been around for a while.
Mhm.
But Mahalia, she's also been around for a while, but new in terms of like being known.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Lake Street Devils has also been around for a while, but they're so talented. So yeah, so those three right now are like huge in my brain in terms of music.
Yeah.
And I kind of hear it in my songwriting. I hear a lot of influence, like a lot of like I've noticed in the past, 4 or 5 songs that I've written a lot. I've never written catchy songs, quote unquote, before. It's like, whoa, this song is like really catchy. Like, it's like, okay, but it's catchy, but it's also like, okay, it's not like pop. What's what I'm looking for? It's not like, oh man, like, we are listening to, I don't know, like something you hear on the radio time and time, but it's like catchy, and it's like, oh, it's also like there's a lot of depth to the catchiness.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, so I'm trying to mix those two in as much as I possibly can.
I have heard you say John, Jawn, at least 3 times.
Oh,
I know a Philly guy when I hear it. Where are you from? Are you from Lehigh Valley area, Philly area?
I'm originally from Nigeria, but when I moved out here to the US at 8, I was in Philly. But then I have a lot of friends who live in Philly, and I have a lot of friends who are from Philly. And I'm in Philly a lot. So, and went to high school. Almost everybody was from some part of Philly, and then moved to the suburbs of Philly.
Yeah.
Or outside of Philly. There's slang. It's really funny because I even use it in school when I'm talking to my bosses. It's like, it's like, yo, listen, you're gonna get the authentic. I want to be authentic as possible in whatever space I'm in.
Yeah.
When I'm not authentic, I feel really uncomfortable. I start to itch. It's like, oh man, I feel like I can't be myself. Like now, like whatever space that I'm in, I try to be as authentic as I possibly can. So even in that environment, I say it to my administrators, and I was like, well, listen, that's me, dude. You hired me for a reason, hopefully, right?
Fair.
And it's nice because I'm in a space where I have that, where I also have that freedom to do that. So I'm blessed to be in that space, because some people don't have that space.
Definitely.
But yeah, I don't know. That's
yeah. I think that's an awesome role model to be for the kids too.
Yeah.
Is to say, this is me. I'm not changing who I am just because of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, no, that's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not it. That's not the moves. If you're listening to this podcast and somebody's telling you to change who you are to fit into an environment, it's easier said than done, but don't do it. I like to think I would try my best to not let somebody rob me of my authenticity, right? Because if I don't have that, then what else do I have?
Yeah.
So that's dead. It's not happening. If I can help it, that's not happening. Yeah. So yeah, anyways, never let somebody rob you of your authenticity. I gotta say that word of I gotta break it up, because I just can't. Authenticity. It's more dramatic. Authenticity. Gotta break it up. Staccato effect. Yeah. But yeah. So that's absolutely.
What's that phraseology? I can't even remember where I heard this, but when people say you don't want to fit the mold, you want to break it.
Yeah.
Just straight up break the mold.
Break the mold, right? Be a trailblazer. Do something that's authentically you. When we talk about self-care, right? That's a self-care thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not letting somebody break your mold or rob you of that authenticity. Because if you feel like you're yourself, I'd like to think that you're in a happier, you can be in a happier space. Definitely. Where you have more control over what's happening to you when you are authentic. Because pretending to not be it's really stressful. Yeah. It sounds mad stressful. When I've been in spaces where it's like, oh my God, this is doesn't feel authentic. Like it's like a stressful thing for me. So that's why I can only imagine what it feels like to be in a space where you can't be your authentic self. That's like I don't know if the word is stressful, but it's just not a happy place to be. That's why I like to encourage people, if you have that freedom, even if you don't have that freedom, to practice it. Because if we practice it, we get better at doing it.
Very true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you can't do it right away, just practice being authentic.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
That's awesome.
I feel like we're getting free counseling. I love
it. Speaking of expressing yourself, especially in as many public places as possible, have you been able to perform at all?
Virtually, yes. And there was also this like coffee shop that was like doing like a indoor, like no one else is there but you, and you're performing for like a virtual open mic.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah.
Was that local or?
No, that was in Phoenixville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know that Music Fest is hopefully, I don't know when if it's coming back or when it's going to come back, but hopefully more things local pop up. So right after school, I can just jump in somewhere.
Godfrey Daniels. It's over on 4th Street in Southside Bethlehem.
Okay.
Is an amazing coffee house place. It's been there, I think, since the 70s.
Oh, dang.
Nonprofit run. Ramona Labar does an amazing job. She's the booking manager. But it's just a very relaxed, chill, awesome, tiny little place. I think mostly virtual right now, but I would love to hear you at Godfrey Daniels.
Perfect. Yeah.
Is there anywhere that you really want to play? Because I think that like a space, I don't know. I have such an emotional attachment to Godfrey Daniels. So I think any musician that I know or whose stuff I like, I always want to get them in there because it's just always like a match made in heaven. But is there anywhere you feel like I would just love to get in there and play my music?
I would love.
Doesn't even have to be local.
I would love. This is kind of a shooting for the stars thing, but NPR. Tiny Desk
concert. Yeah.
I haven't done one of those submissions videos because I didn't have the mental energy to even think about doing that.
Sure.
But now, like, I want to do that. So, like, I feel like I have the mental energy to put towards doing that. I would love to do that. But I'm trying to think. Like, Word Cafe Live down in Philly. I played open mic there a couple of times, but I would like to have like my own like Ikechukwu, boo, come here to listen to him play music. So Word Cafe Live, but not an open mic, like my own show.
Yeah,
or opening up for Lake Street Dive or John Mayer, like a John Mayer acoustic set. That'd be. I would love to have that opportunity to play at those places.
Yeah, definitely.
Because those places garner a lot of that's the place actually, Word Cafe Live. I was playing at this, I played this open mic and I had played like one of my really, really sad songs. That's gonna be on the EP, Forever the Lover Boy. Just kidding. But yeah, I played one of really sad songs and then this woman came up to me and was like, "Oh my God, that was so beautiful. But who was that woman that broke your heart?" And I started laughing. I was like, "Well, what, talk." It's like, "Nah, it's just whatever." But it's like that. I will never forget that because I was like, "Okay, cool." Somebody was like, "Oh my God, who was the woman that broke his heart?" It's like, dang, that's crazy. My music was enough to make you question who did this to you.
You're out there villainizing unknown women.
Villainizing unknown women. That's so funny. Oh, that's hilarious.
But that's
so
emotion.
Funny.
You are creating
That's the
so
emotion.
much emotion
That is
with your
so much
music
emotion.
that this woman who never even met you
never even met
was
me.
ready to fight some girl for you.
Yo, that's crazy. Yo, yeah, she was. When I was playing that song, it's like everybody was super quiet. And that just intensifies the emotion when everybody's quiet.
Yeah.
Especially when you sing like a sad, mellow song that's all like purely lyrically based. But yeah, that was a beautiful, and that happened at Word Cafe Live. So I would love to have my own, because it's such a good stage to be on. I would love to have my own thing at Word Cafe Live. That'll probably be, that's the one I can think of right now in this moment. That's like number one, Word Cafe Live.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
You'll definitely have to reach out to the folks at Music Fest too.
Oh,
and
yes,
maybe you can get
please.
on one of those local stages.
I would love to. I would love to.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
love to.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know. We'll be there.
Yeah, we'll definitely
yeah?
be there.
Okay, good. Good.
So, like, who are your biggest supporters? Family, friends, coworkers?
One of my best friends, Roshan. Yeah, he's been rocking with me since like freshman year of high school. So like, he's probably one of my biggest. He's like my what's the word?
He's your roadie.
Yeah, he's my roadie.
Groupie.
Yeah. Roadie slash what's the word? Slash manager on some days.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my boy. And I'm lucky to have a lot of friends who like gas me up and put my stuff on their page or whenever like I'm doing something, or my siblings too. They rock with it. And my uncles and aunts, and so like I have a lot of what's the word? Support in terms of like okay, yo, dude, you're making music. Send us your music. We'll put it on our story or things like that. But yeah, it was my mom. The thing is, the parents coming from an immigrant family, it's very, what's the word? It's very more security based. So like, yo, music is not gonna, it's funny because my mom got me a guitar and was like, don't think of becoming a professional musician. Right? It's like, well, I'm not gonna do that. And I was like, well, I kind of want to do that, you know. The first strum, I was like, oh, okay, I kind of want to do that. But yeah, so in terms of like when I first was doing my thing, I had to learn not to be. I had to learn to be okay with not much. What's the word? Support from that aspect, parental aspect, in terms of pursuing it the way that I want to pursue it.
Sure.
And just learn to receive that support from other people within that environment.
Yeah.
And that's enough for me. You know, I don't know. That's pretty much, that's kind of how I rock it. I need some tea. I need some, this is dandelion tea?
Yep, dandelion nettle
my
tea.
God.
That's every parent's fear, though, is their kid going to art school or their kid going to film school. My degree is technically a business degree, but it has art in the title. My parents are, what is that? Arts administration?
Arts, right?
For their kid becoming a professional musician. And it comes from a truly good place.
It does.
I'm going to again tie in this term of the artist wound. Is your art worth something if it's not monetized, or is it worth something if it's not good? But there's so much, it has so much more worth than the commercial value. It's about expressing yourself. And
Absolutely.
For you have found a way to integrate it into your quote day job. And I love that.
Yeah.
So.
I had to. I just had to.
Yeah.
I had to.
It's you.
Yeah, it's me.
Had to be authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes it not feel like a quote unquote day job.
Yeah.
It makes it feel like I'm just actually, it's like, okay, cool, like a superhero, like school counselor by day, musician by night. Right. So it's like, I don't know. So it's nice to kind of have the best of both worlds in my brain.
Definitely.
At all times with that.
That should be your
Yeah.
tagline. School counselor by day, musician by night.
Put that as my Clubhouse bio. Put that in my bio. School counselor by day, musician by night. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how has the Lehigh Valley influenced either your creative process, how you decide to release things?
So here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
The Lehigh Valley, I'm actually still learning about the Lehigh Valley. Kind of funny. I don't know much about the Lehigh Valley. I would love to learn more about the Lehigh Valley because this is where my job is. This is where my students are going to be. This is where I'm most likely making a lot of professional connections in what I do. So I would love to learn more about the Lehigh Valley. That's why it's nice to have people like the two of you. I don't know. It's just to teach me, I guess, because I'm like a tourist in my own country, right? But yeah, so I don't know much. One thing I know about the Lehigh Valley is the Steel Stacks, Music Fest, C'est fini. I think that's it. I think that's it. Besides Easton High School and middle school.
What about at the center of downtown Easton, there's a circle?
Yes. My coworkers introduced me to that, like at the beginning of the school year. Yeah. The circle. Yes. Yes, the circle with the fountains.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
With the fountains. With the fountains. Yeah. That's really much about it. I can't think of anything else. So I would like to know more.
So we get to control the influence. We get to
Pixel Studios.
We get to show you where to go and where to.
I still Pixel Studios, right?
Yes, down here at Steel Pixel Studios.
That's great though, and you're working in the Lehigh Valley community, so I think it's cool that you do want to kind of branch out and learn more about what's out there, and that's any good musician, any good entrepreneur is out there making connections and trying to figure out where they can, I don't want to say sell their work, but that's basically what it is you're selling your work, you're selling yourself.
Wherever you think your art will be appreciated, or where you want your art to be appreciated, or where you think you'd like your art to be appreciated. Like, yo, here's something new, or here's something that's not, this or that. Yeah.
I know we mentioned that your stuff is on Spotify. Where else can people listen, see what you're working on?
Apple Music. Pandora, if Pandora's being nice. Where else? Google Play?
Yeah.
YouTube. You just gotta search up my really long name.
You want to spell that out for us?
Of course. I'll spell it real slowly. IKECHUKWU, and then my last name, OKORJI. So,
nice.
Yeah, Ikechukwu Okorji. And then you search Where the Lions Are, and that's the release I have out now. It came out 2018. Yeah. So that'll be anywhere where you can find music.
Very cool.
Very nice.
How about social media?
Social media, Instagram is the same thing. My name. Facebook, my name. Same thing. IKECHUKWU OKORJI. Make a song out of that. That's cool. But yeah. So it's basically the same for all. I was thinking, oh man, should I not even use my long name? Then I thought to myself, that's no fun. No. That's not being authentic.
It's
right?
not.
That's a really good
name.
point.
That's not being authentic. And I was like, the only reason I would ever want to change my name is to make it easier for someone else. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. Right?
Yeah. Why convenience someone else? It's your name. It's part of you.
It's part of me. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to bank it on like my music is going to be good enough that you're going to want to say my full name. right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
If someone's a fan of you, they'll learn how to spell your name.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm banking it on like, okay, my music is going to make you feel some type of way that, you know what, I kind of want to learn how to say this dude's long name. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of learn how to spell it, like, you know? So like, that's kind of, I was like, okay, that's kind of what I banked it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, we can also share on our platform too, when and where people can catch your new single and your new release. But
Definitely.
keep an ear out and an eye out for that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I do appreciate that.
And that was our conversation with Ikechukwu.
He played a little bit for us while he was here, so that was awesome. So in closing this evening, we're actually going to have our friend Angie and our sound engineer Elizabeth hop on and talk about a really cool interactive poetry project.
Hi, I'm Angie.
Hi, and I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here to tell you guys all about the Healing Verse Philly Poetry line. This is a great resource that I recently learned about. So a little bit of background on me is I'm a current graduate student at Lehigh University. And for one of the events on campus, we recently had Trapita B. Mason, who is Philadelphia's poet laureate. And she recently created this new resource called the Healing Verse Philly Poetry line, which is a hotline that absolutely anyone can call any time of day, any day of the week for a poem.
So if that is an interest to you, what you can do is you can call the phone number at 1-855-763-6792. And this also is a resource that comes in support from Healing Verse Philly and is supported by Kelly Writers House. And it's also the Poet Laureate program, which is managed by the Free Public Library of Philadelphia.
Yeah, so that number again is 1-855-763-6792 or 1-855-POEM-RX2. And this is a great resource. It makes poetry more accessible for everyone. And you can call anytime. There's a new poem every week, and they are absolutely beautiful. All poems are featuring local poets as well.
Yes, and they're also said they're rather on the short side too. So even if you need just a quick pick me up for the day, it's a really good way to get that, and it's not very time consuming.
The whole call is usually less than 3 to 5 minutes, and I actually just added it to my contacts, so I call it every Monday, and it's a great Monday pick-me-up.
Very nice. So does it come out every Monday then, I would assume?
Yes, it comes out every Monday. There's a new poem always featuring a local artist who they'll introduce, and they also have events. So when you call the hotline, the first person you'll hear is actually Trapita B. Mason herself, and she'll introduce that poem for the week, and you can either press 1 to hear the poem or press 2 to learn more about local events featuring poetry in the Philadelphia area.
Awesome. So then we'll definitely have to check that out on Mondays is when it's released. And also make sure you do that for yourself.
We're going to have Ike's song Lights from his EP Where the Lions Are play us out.
If you leave the light on, I will stay in your arms. We will be together, just you and me. If you turn the light on, and I will try my best and have that light turn back on. That light will shine brighter than the moon in the sky. So let your light shine over me. And oh, kiss me with those berry lipstick, knock me off my feet, and baby. And oh, hold my hand and show me how you feel. can know we are real. You hold me with those emerald eyes and confuse me with your frantic style. You burn me with every touch. You touch too much. Not strong as I used to be. So if you light on, baby, it's my only energy. You hold me in the palm of your hand. Don't let me fall, oh, to the ground. So let your light shine over me. Oh, kiss me with those berry lipstick. Knock me off my feet and baby. And hold my hand and show me how you feel. So I can know we are real. So I can know, I can know, I can know, I can know we are real.